Welcome to Strength and Conditioning number 3. Of course, we're going to start with abs. We're going to start working on upper abs, do some lower abs, and then put it together. So, I'm going to lie down with my feet about hip width distance, and I'm going to bring my hands behind my head and release my fingers, find some support so the neck doesn't get tired. Your neck doesn't have to do any work. We're going to let that be passive. And I'm going to lift my low spine up and draw my tail towards my heels and lower it back down. And then from here, keeping some space between my chin and my chest, my elbows relatively wide, I'm going to start to curl up. So control the curls. So nothing like big and sharp. Just try to feel like you're articulating on the way up and articulating on the way back down. As you articulate up, you're going to feel the front points of your hips and the bottom of your ribs drawing closer to each other. Low spine gets longer and flatter towards the floor. Won't necessarily go to the floor. You might still have some curve in your low spine, that's okay. But just feeling that you are creating space in your low back as you shorten through the front of your body. And every time I come up, I should just feel my belly button pulling back and down, not going in the opposite direction. Always make these smaller if you start to feel that you're just kind of pushing your low spine away from the floor and pushing the belly away. So I curl in, belly pulls in tight. I'll do 8 more. If you're straining at all in your hip flexors, press more through your feet. So even as you feel the front of your body shorten, you feel like you're pressing away through your knees and your legs. Last one. And then we're going to work into the lower abs a little bit more. So we'll start with our arms along the sides of the body. And these are called triangle lifts, so they're a little bit harder than if you were just lifting up one single leg, but we're going to use the arms as support, so I think that'll be okay, and it'll just help us find good form instead of cheating. So I'm going to bring my left leg up, I'm going to take my right leg and bring it across, so I'm kind of just adding a little bit of weight to my left leg, but I can press as much as I want through my hands and my arms. Still, I'm going to tuck my chin slightly, but keep a little space there so I'm not rolling my head back like this, a little bit longer through the back of the neck. And then I'm going to push my arms and I'm going to lift my legs up. And it might be a very small lift. There's a tiny rocking motion. Just make sure that it's not anything too big. Trying to use your lower abdominal muscles to lift up. Two more on this side. These, I don't have to do a ton of these. You should feel pretty obvious what you're working. We'll switch. We'll do the other side. So my left shin is going to go across. Still pressing down through my forearms. Try to keep the shoulders pulling down slightly so they're not coming up into your ears. And still letting the belly pull in even when you're at the top of the movement. Okay, about 2 more. And then I'm going to uncross the legs. Now that's a little bit warmed up too. I'm going to take my hands back behind my head and release my fingers again. And I'm just going to lower one leg at a time. And you can lower 2 inches or you can lower to almost hover just above the floor. Just keep that same sense of like curling in the low belly. Try to keep the hip flexors happy. So I'm going to lower one leg at a time and lift. Staying long through my low spine. And it's not necessarily all the way flat, pushing into the floor, but I shouldn't feel like I'm pulling away or arching away. I should feel my tail reaching back towards the foot as the foot goes down. belly button pulls down and in. And one little technique you can do if you're getting in the hip flexors is you can turn out a little bit more. So when you lower, you're a little bit more externally rotated. That'll force you to use your hamstrings a little bit more, and it can help you stay out of your hip flexors. But I would always just say also make it smaller. Turn out and make it smaller so you can build up the strength so you can eventually do these without your body taking you into that hip flexor overexertion. Gonna even myself out now, one more each side. And then we're gonna do one of my absolute favorites from Pilates, tree pose, or tree exercise, Pilates tree, which is very hard, so just be patient. I'm gonna put my left leg down, I'm gonna keep my right leg up. I'm gonna take my hands and bring them to my right leg. My right leg is now the tree, and I'm going to climb up the tree. So ideally, we're going to just curl up like we did before the upper abs. So I'm going to be shortening that space in the front of my body to help bring me up. I'm going to keep a little space between my chin and my chest, but realistically, if you have to like really give it some oomph to get up this first one, that's not unlikely. So you're going to bring your hands to start your climb. Again, chin stays a little bit away from your chest, so we're going to curl up, and then you're going to find that spot where all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not happening. And at that point, what we have to do is we have to press through our leg. So that's the action. That's going to help you turn those lower abdominals on, just like we were lifting up before. That's that action that's going to help you find the top of it. So once I get to that tricky spot, I'm going to push with my leg. Oh, still didn't work. Push my leg and come up. And you'll find your long leg helping you on the floor too. Once I get to the top, I'm just going to come back down. All the way walking back down as slow and controlled as I can. Tuck the chin, come up, press with your leg to help you get up. And if the hamstrings are tight, the leg won't be quite as straight as mine is. Not a big deal. But trying to find that consistent, slow up and down. It's really slow. That one got stuck a little bit. And if you constantly get stuck, you can also go halfway down and up. Halfway down and up. That's also an option. I'm going to do 2 more on this leg. I kind of rushed that last one, so try not to rush it. Savor that tricky spot. And then bring that right leg down. And we'll try some trees with the left leg. So left leg comes up. Right leg is active on the floor. That's going to help you too. So I'm pressing through my right leg. And now I'm going to climb this left tree. So again, try not to do it all with my neck, but just keeping my chin tucked. Press through my left leg to come up. And slowly control back down as much as you can, using one vertebra at a time. And then you can, of course, go down halfway, come up. But, I mean, these are not going to be easy. They're still not easy for me, so they're going to take some practice. And having that awkward space, you really have to push and find that power is very valuable. So I think I've got 3 more on this side. Last one. And we bring it down. Oh, okay, we're going to do a couple of roll-ups, which are basically like our Bikram sit-up. So we're just not any momentum with the arms. So same thing as before. I'm going to curl with my upper abs. I'm going to use that power of my lower abs to help get me through. Instead of waving my arms around to help me get to the top, I'm going to use more of that power from my legs and my low abs. So slight tuck of the chin, press through the hamstrings, pull in through the low belly. The more you hollow yourself out, like this is me just not doing anything, this is me hollowing out. I don't know if on video if that's very obvious, but the more of that you do, the easier it'll be. And curl up over towards your toes, and then slowly come back down. And I'm going to do 4 more. Slight tuck at the chin. Again, try to pull down, scoop and hollow everything out. Press through the legs, just like we did in tree. Three more. Two more. Just like tree, there's going to be that one challenging spot. So when you get to that spot, press more with your legs, scoop more with your belly. Okay, moving on to some hip and glute work. Just my leggings. So this one is a little bit tricky in the setup. It's worth getting right in the setup. For people who are very good at external rotation, I don't feel this as much as someone who's like tighter in the hips. So, but everyone should feel this if you're precise with your setup. So my left shin, is going to be parallel, one line parallel if you're long ways on your mat, be to the front of your mat, and then the upper leg would be parallel to the other side of the mat. So it's a 90-degree angle with your front leg, and then also a 90-degree angle with my back leg. So my thigh is parallel to my front shin, and my calf is parallel to the edge of my mat or my other thigh. Both feet are flexed. So from this 90-90 position, first we're going to play with a little bit of movement. So I'm going to take my hands in front and kind of give myself a little bit of a stable base. And I'm going to try to lift my right knee up. I'm going to extend my right leg forward, and I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to reach it forward, I'm going to bring it back. So when I go forward, my chest comes up. When I go back, my chest goes down. I'm not really doing a push-up, I'm just using my hands to stabilize me. One more like this. Already feeling it. And then if you want to try with no hands to stabilize you, hands can come to your chest. See if you can control that same movement without touching down. I'm not going quite as far back. Big strengthener for the hip and the glute. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. And then we'll switch sides. So now my right shin's going to be in front, absolutely straight parallel line, foot flexed. Same with my left leg, so straight from the hip, left thigh parallel to my right calf, shin parallel to my right thigh. And first I'll frame my front, kind of get my torso more in the center. If I'm going to swing the leg, I'm going to have to move this arm, but kind of get that sensation first of being able to fold forward, and then I'm going to slide that hand back a little bit, bring my left leg forward, and slide it back. Chest comes up as leg goes forward, chest goes forward as leg goes back. Second side, you'll feel the intensity in the side you worked, and this one at the same time, so second side's always a little harder. And then I'm going to try no hands. And it's a little bit one of those things. Well, first of all, I'll tell you, if your leg skims the floor like mine just did, trying to keep a even height, however far you go back and however far you go forward. So try not to skim the floor. I got 2 more on the side. Whew. And last one. Then I'm going to switch back to the other side. For me, these are super intense, even though it's going to look like I'm not doing anything. So for a video, it's probably not that exciting, but they're very intense. So I'm going to get that same setup again, really precise, 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to take my hands and bring them out to the side. I'm going to make a fist. Make a fist with both hands. So I really got to use some strength and like engage through my arms. And then from this position, I'm just going to fold forward and come back up. I'm going to fold forward and I'm going to come back up. You should feel this in the back hip after all those little exercises we did. And now I'm going to add this sensation like I'm lifting my front shin, even though I'm not going to really lift it. When I fold forward, I'm going to press my left shin into my mat, into my rug, into my floor. I'm going to try to press so hard that the neighbors downstairs in my duplex downstairs are going to be like, what is she doing? Then I'm going to come back up and I'm going to release that pressure. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So again, doesn't really look like I'm doing anything, but I'm working really hard. I'm going to fold my chest forward. I'm going to press with my whole left shin from the outer edge of my knee down to the side of my ankle. So I feel it all the way around my left butt and the side of my hip, pressing into the floor as much as I can. And then I'm going to release the pressure. So knee will come up slightly, not a lot. 1 more time. Fold forward, press your shin into the floor, flex your foot like crazy, and press with everything you got. You should feel your fists tightening up. Maybe your body starts to shake a little bit. And then come back. My neighbors are not going to hear anything with that. But I want to, give myself a narrative of like, that's how hard I'm working. Okay, other side. Right shin parallel, left thigh parallel, 90-degree angles all around. Feet very active. Make the fist. First I'm just going to rock forward and back a couple times. Since the legs have already been working a bit, this should already be something you feel. It's just your body when you're in this uneven position, not letting you fall over. And then I'm going to try to do that tightening up. So strong arms, strong fists, not tensing my shoulders up, so just let your shoulders still relax down from your ears. I'm going to start to fold forward. I'm going to press my right shin now into the floor as much as I can, flexing back from my foot, really trying to like stamp down and like I'm going to make an indentation into the floor. And come back up. And we got 2 more. Fold forward, press with everything you got. Again, you're going to feel this, the right outer glute, outer hip, it's the glute you need. Medius. And come back up. Releasing the pressure. And 1 more time. Bring the body forward. Press with everything you got in your right shin. Really tighten up as strong as you can. And then come back up. All right. Release that leg forward, legs in front. Maybe just wiggle them out a little bit. And then we're going to give the hips just a short break and do some upper body strength. So we'll warm up our wrists just a little bit. So for these, not being too precise about our quadruped position, but just finding a place where you have some weight in your hands in front of you. I'll go this way since it's cutting me off a little bit. So I'm just going to rock right and left, bringing weight into my wrists. And then I'm going to bring my hands so that my fingertips are facing in towards each other. And I'm going to do that same thing, rocking right and left. I don't have to straighten up through my elbows. They can be mostly straight, but they don't need to be all the way straight. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a different one. I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to make fists like we just did with my wrists up. So I'm going to bring my fist with my wrists up to the floor. I'm going to bring my elbows down to the floor, and then I'm going to try to press away, keeping my fist to the floor, and try to straighten my arms. Elbows come down, roll up, straightening or getting closer to straight. They might not go straight. Getting into a different angle at the wrist and the back of the hand. 2 more. And the further back your legs are for these, the harder it'll be. So if you want to make it a little bit more accessible, these are ridiculous. You can go closer with your knees. If you want to make it harder, knees go further away. But now we're going to go into the real exercise, the snap tuck. So I should do these to the side, I think, as well. So the hands maybe about shoulder width apart. And I'm going to just sit my hips down in a kneeling position. I'm going to actually slide my hands in closer to my legs. These are hard enough, we don't need space. So you can be all the way in, kind of touching along the sides of your knees or a smidge forward. But I'm going to scoop my belly round my spine. And I'm going to hover onto the tops of my feet so my shins are coming up off the floor. And then I'm going to lower. I'm going to do these a few times, scooping, tucking, rounding. Tops of the feet are still to the floor. Exhale as you scoop and lift. Inhale as you release back down. So these are abs more than they are upper body work, but your upper body is working too. Exhale, scoop. Lower. And two more, scoop. And lower. Last one, scoop. And lower. Max 7 weight in your hands. Take them up, give them a shake for a moment. And then we're going to try to lift one leg up at a time, so it'll be a little bit more intense. So same setup, but I'm going to try to lift up as I did before and lift one whole foot up off the floor. So I'm going to scoop, kind of tucking my chin, running through my upper body, scooping everything up, and then I'm going to try to lift one heel closer to my butt. So I'm going to get higher away from the floor, and then I'm going to lower everything. I'm going to scoop, I'm going to tuck, I'm going to round, and then I'm going to lift my right shin now higher up, heel towards my butt, and everything lowers. And we're going to keep doing that. So go at your own pace. Tuck, round, lift, left shin up, lower, right shin up. So if you need to lower everything down, you can. The higher you go, the more this is going to work the upper body and the hands and the arm strength. So definitely come down in between if you need. Otherwise, I'm going to do one more set each round, down on each side. And come back down. And then shake out your wrists. And release your fingers. Or roll your hands a few times. And then try to roll the other direction. We're going to do one more here, kneeling. And this is a good one if you did have any hip flexor stuff in any of these ab exercises that we've done. Even for me, this is hard for the hip flexors. So, just it's to get some stretch and some length there. But just know if it's challenging right now, just take it for what you can get from it. Don't have to make it a super huge movement. So I'm going to start that same kneeling position like I did in my snap tucks. And I'm going to bring my arms forward and I'm going to lean back. And then I'm going to try to start my lift from my points of my hips. So I'm going to lift from there to bring it back up. And then I'm going to lean back the same way. Lower back. Lift from the hips. So very opposite of what we were doing in the snap tucks. Lean back. Lift from the hips to bring you back up. Sit back down. Lean back. Your hips lift you up. You can keep with those. If this is not possible on the knees, you can also do a version standing, just kind of leaning and scooping back forward. Or to make it a little harder, not going to let the butt go down all the way to the heels. So one more round to make it harder. I'm going to stay in a hover. So you're going to lean back, hover, scoop to come forward. Lean back, hover, scoop to come forward. And yes, that's my knees making noise if you hear that. My knees love to crack. So they're having a contest right now. Right one and the left one. Alright, 3 more. And if you can get more of that scoop than I can, by all means, give yourself more. These are really hard for me. Last one. Particularly after those 90-90s on the seated floor, those are really tough. Okay, we're gonna come up to standing, do some skaters. So for the skaters, it's like speed skaters, like when they go around the corners. So I'm gonna step my right leg out, my left leg's gonna go behind and kind of turn at an angle. So you can see this heel's up. So this leg, my toes are still forward, and then come back. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So it's a twist. Now for these, we can add opposite arm and hand come down, step it back. And this should be a nice little stretch for the hips after some of the stuff we did. Pressing up through the ball mode of my foot, letting my torso twist. But also there's a little bit of a balance challenge. And if you want to add to that balance challenge, when you go back, don't let your foot touch. So going back, hovering the foot, again, totally optional. You can always do the touch back, or you can do the hover. And also touching the floor is optional. So you can add hand to the hip if you don't want to get that low. And then we're going to do a little kind of stretch mobility balance challenge. So one more on each side. And then when I come back to center, I'm going to center myself on my mat, hands to my hips. I'm going to take my right leg, I'm going to bring it forward so my big toe is pressing the floor. If you have a sticky mat, it's going to be a little sticky, but just try to hover slightly so there's very little pressure. So you can just slide my foot around like I'm making a circle. I'm going to take that circle and go back behind, just like I did in the other exercise. And then I'm going to bend both knees for a squat. I'm going to come back up, retrace my circle. And I'm going to keep on one leg. So I'm going to do that again. Trace my circle, bend my knees for a squat, come back up, circle back. Trace my circle, bend my knees. When I go down to that knees, you can see the top of my foot is what's towards the floor. Come back up, a couple more like this. And then we'll have the option to add on. So, to add on, when you get the leg back and you're on the top of your foot and you bend your knees, you can come all the way down, sliding your shin down to the floor. That could be enough. Or you can come all the way down with your butt towards the floor. But you have to get back up. So, hands help you if you need to. You can bring your hands to your knee, but don't put a lot of pressure into the actual kneecap. It's just shifting, 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 retracing your line back. Two more like that on this side. Trace the circle, bend the knee, shin down, butt down, hold, butt up, shin up, slide back. One more. Trace the circle, bend the knees, you can always stay there, or shin down, butt down. Press your left foot, kind of like we did the abs before, still using the abs to help you with that, to help you release back out. And then bring your right leg down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So first just 5 circles. Left leg comes forward and front. Circle the big toe around. You're ending at the top of your foot. A little bend in the knees. Circle it back out. That little circle around, bend the knees, come back up, circle it back. This is my tighter hip, so there's that sluggish spot where suddenly nothing is smooth. So I'm going to be aware of that. After I've done a couple of these, you're more aware. 2 more on this side, and when I get to that sluggish spot, I'm going to try to lift up a little bit more, use my abdominal muscles a little bit more, give myself all the help I can. Instead of just being like, ugh, this is the harder side, so it's going to be crappier. And then we'll add on, so sliding, knee behind knee, I'm on the top of my foot. I can take the squat and stay in the squat. You can stay in the squat for a little longer. It should feel like some good burning action, or I can bring my shin down, or I can slide my butt back. And I have to get back up. I'm in this position where I'm going to have a hard time using my legs, but I can press through my right foot. Use my lower abdominal muscles to lift, lift, and retrace the circle back. 2 more times. Circle, chest is coming forward, and the leg goes back, just like when we did those little exercises with the floor. Bend my knees, I can stay in that squat. I can slide my shin down, slide my butt down. Again, the arms coming forward should help with the momentum too, so you can use more or less of that if you want it. Lift up, circle back. 1 more time. Circle around, knee to knee, bend the knees for the squat, slide the ankle down, sit the butt down, press through my right foot, come up, all the way up, slide back, left leg in, or left leg in, like I did on the other side. And now we're going to go down onto our back and just finish with some tabletop. So I'm going to bring the fingertips forward towards the heels. Hands don't have to go super far behind you, but they're not obviously right underneath your shoulders. So a little bit behind. Feet hip width distance. And you can play with this and find just the perfect spot for you. So from here, let's just do some tricep dips. So I'm going to lower down and press up. I'm getting a little bit of strength in the triceps first. Shoulders stay down, away from the ears. Butt's on the floor, so it's not a huge amount of weight. But you should still feel this in your chest and in your triceps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from here, I'm going to press through my hands. I'm going to lift my low belly. Then I'm going to come back up into my reverse tabletop. So from this position, I can let my head go back, just relax the head, relax the neck, but keep pressing down through the arms so you never start to sag into your shoulders, you never start to sag into your hips. You should feel this pressure, strong glutes, so that you're really like reaching back through the top of the legs and getting a nice stretch there again through the front of the hips and the hamstrings. And then I'm going to play with getting a little bit of movement. So I'm going to march. I'm going to step, lifting 1 foot up off the floor at a time. It doesn't have to come high up off the floor. But just starting to see if I can stabilize myself on 3 limbs for a moment. Trying to keep my hips as high as the other hip so I don't drop down into one side. Even when that leg comes up, I stay lifted through my torso, lifted through my hips. 1 more time, right and left. And then I'm going to add a twist since we haven't really done any. We've done some twists, but I'm going to add a twist. So I'm going to be on 3 limbs again. I'm going to have 1 hand come up off the floor. So I'm going to take 1 hand. I'm going to reach to the side and back. Other hand, reach to the side and back. I can twist everything from my torso, but I'm going to try to keep the knees relatively where they are. So I don't want my knees to shift or shift. So I'm going to try to keep lifted up, twist from my torso. If you can touch the floor on the side, I salute you. Sometimes I can, but sometimes I cheat with my knees, so maybe not worth it. Yeah, see? Cheating. So find that place where you can feel like you're getting as much twist as possible, still keeping your legs in that same line, not one going forward, one pulling back. 4, 3, 2, last one, and then come back down, lower your butt, lower your legs, lower your body, and we'll just take a little side body stretch to end. So one of my favorites, banana. I'm just going to walk my legs over to the left, and then I'm going to lift up my torso and scoot my torso over to the left, and I'm going to take my left hand and hold my right wrist. Let my chin go slightly towards my left shoulder. If you want more, you can also take your right foot, cross your right ankle over your left, and get a really nice full stretch through the right side of the body. This can actually be a yin pose. You can hold this for a super long time. Although if I was doing it yin style, I wouldn't be holding the wrist or stacking the ankles. It'd be a little bit less intense. And then if you're not holding the wrist, come back to center with your upper body. Come back to center with your legs. Scoot the legs over towards the right. Lift your torso, bring your body over in that direction. Now I'm going to grab the opposite hand. Right hand grabs left wrist. Left leg can cross over right if you want. You will feel it if you twist a lot, if you're kind of turning your body and coming up off the side. So find where you can get the stretch through the sides of the body as much as possible. Taking a few breaths here. And then again, release the hand at the wrist, bring the arms and upper body back. Release the leg, bring the legs back. Let's bring the soles of the feet to touch for a butterfly stretch. I'm going to take my hands and kind of hold on at the back of my legs and scoop my butt towards my heels. And then I'll let my feet relax down again. One hand belly, one hand chest. Release the back of the ribs towards the floor. Release the tail towards your heels. 3 deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, release any held tension in the legs, neck, shoulders, long collarbones, and that space on the jaw. One more time, inhale. Release all the tension. And on your exhale. Thanks, you did it.